And will industrial policy be a good idea for a country like India? So of course the US is going towards it. A lot of the world seems to now be talking about industrial policy again. Um, is that a good idea for India, given the stage of development, given the kind of mix of economic activity we have?
So here's my thinking about industrial policy. So you have success stories like Korea, right? They did engage in industrial policy in the sense that they actually tried to sort of encourage firms that they thought would actually add more value, right, through public money, through regulations, etc., favoring them. But they always, I mean, again, I'm speaking about this in very, very broad terms because when you look at the economic history, things are a bit more mixed. But when you sort of look at that, you find that what these countries had was they had this advantage that they could get these firms to compete abroad, and the firms that competed and won, they were supported. Firms that were shown to be weak when you actually measured them in terms of how well they could compete abroad, those firms tended to get less and less. Those firms tended to get less and less support. So I don't know if India follows a strategy like that, but if it did, then I would say industrial policy is good, with two caveats. Another caveat is the world environment has changed. Now this could lead India. So basically, this external gauge of the effectiveness of industrial policy at home is becoming less and less reliable. So then you say, okay, I'm going to use that as a gauge. I know it's going to be less and less reliable, but I'm going to use some other one. And the other one is I'm going to use in the sense that they actually try to are we adding value to this? Are these firms adding more value than the ones? Once you start to sort of do that, then you enter into a world where we basically say you should have a lot of debate about these things. People look at the kind of debates, smash mouth debates that you sort of see in the United States. But those smash mouth debates are needed in order for you to sort of say, okay, you know what, this money was not well spent. Okay, somebody's watching. You have a free press. You have essentially good economic analysis, and the government provides that information freely and widely. If you don't do that abroad, the role of government is to provide that information, not hide it. Because once you hide it, then there are all kinds of suspicion about, I don't know if India follows a strategy to this particular party. That if it did, then I would say
ultimately flawed decision
with
making
two
starts to
caveats.
happen across the board.
Another caveat is the world environment has changed.
But
you want to do industrial policy, but recognize that so basically the prerequisites of successful industrial policy of the much more than you industrial policy at home. They're not just about data information system. They are also about creating I'm going to use culture of debate. I know having think tanks, etc. I think that's where India is right now. We should be should be growing this, and I think one is I'm going to use in the sense that we should be growing this. I'm going to try to see system of value of questioning each other. Are these firms adding more value than the ones in a free way? Once you start to sort of do that, then you enter.
I think that's the point of the democracy, right? I mean, if you
basically say you should have a lot of debate about
vis-a-vis, like let's say China. Look at you have to take the strengths of a democratic system, which is active debate and transparency and accountability, and then as they say, like a pilot who makes that 1% adjustment every time gets to the destination, right? So those slight adjustments consistently is what will get you there. So I agree with you, I think, on that. And this idea of not appointing or anointing national champions, but creating the conditions for firms to compete,
those firms tended to get
giving them the base support to compete. And then
I don't know if India follows the strategy.
Right?
Yeah.
Then maybe
if it did, then I would say industrial policy is good.
I think that's a learning I've heard from various
Another
people
caveat is
seen this
the world environment has changed.
Asian context as well.
Now, this industrial policy, but recognize so basically that the external the prerequisites